Hello Nevillers, welcome back to the channel. I'm Sarah, otherwise known as Neville O'Clock, because every hour on the clock is a fabulous time for Neville and his wonderful teachings. I've got my nose up in Persistent Assumption from 1968. I do believe this is Neville's most spiritual year. Actually, he talks about spiritualness, our assumptions and our desires and self-concept work in most of his lectures. But today I feel like sharing his description about Jesus, i.e. our I amness. It's wonderful. Let's dive in, fellow Nevillers. So right here, Neville says, Jesus' name is I am. How many times a day do we say I am? Many, many times. Let's see what Neville shares extra. He says he is not some superior being other than yourself. He is the inspiration for everything you write, be it trivia or profound. Inspiration does not come from some other being, because there cannot be another. When you sit down to write, the thoughts come from your own being. It is nonsense to think of some other being as possessing you. Neville and his wonderful sense of humour. He says further here, the great poets, the Shakespeares, the Blakes, had no great spiritual influx moving in them that is greater than the spiritual influx in you. So there you go. There you go, fellow Nevillers. You, I, and anyone watching, we can be a Blake or a Shakespeare or whatever we want to be. Let's continue with Neville's fabulous words. So he says there's no greater spiritual influx in them as there is in us. He says it cannot be, for there is no one greater than self. This suits me just fine, having a bit of a dip in consciousness over the weekend. Now Neville sent me a lecture and I'm sharing with you guys just to remember how powerful we are. There is no one greater than self. That's a thought we should keep within our consciousness all day, 24/7. Thank you, Neville. When someone tells me he is under the influence of some greater power, I tell him that is not possible. The inspiration is coming from the depths of his own soul. Perhaps you have an item you would like to advertise. As you think what your customer needs, the answer will come from the depth of your own soul. And you will know what needs to be said to promote your product. You do not receive some influx of spirit outside of yourself, for there is no one greater. There is only God, and God is one. God is one. In the book of Psalms, you are told to commune with your own self. Sit quietly, be at peace with yourself, and suddenly thoughts will begin to flow within you from God. In the beginning you were God, and in the end you and I and the whole vast world of billions will be regathered into the one God. So really the main point of this beginning of the lecture from Neville's is for us to realise how incredibly wonderful we are, how powerful we are, how we can create our world, our reality with our thoughts and our imagination. There's a little more here from Neville about inspiration. I also love that too. Neville shares a little more about his love for the poets. I don't know whether you guys love poets, but I do too. He says, I admire the great inspired poets. Shakespeare is marvellous, Blake is altogether wonderful, and Einstein truly great in his field. These were inspired men, but they did not have any influx of spirit that made them greater than your human imagination. For their imagination and your imagination are one. Grand, divine imagination imagining. Their work did not come from something outside of themselves, but from their own imagination, awakening. That same imagination is yours. There is only one spirit. The spirit of man is one with the spirit of the universe, and there is no other. We'll leave the chapter right there, my lovelies. This first part of the lecture is about Neville telling us all about this fabulous spirit, Jesus Christ within us. I love how he says it. I love how he shares that inspiration comes from no one else but us. We must sit still, be quiet within ourselves, and let that beautiful knowledge flow through and out it comes. Thank you, Neville. Tomorrow we'll go into this lecture one more time. I've done one for yesterday. I'll leave a link down there, because Neville in here gives us some fabulous exercises, and I know that's what you lovelies are wanting to replicate in your life. I'm doing the same. I'm going to go into the lecture, discover what it is, how to portray that, and then make it into a video for you, my fellow Nevillers. Thank you for your time and attention. If you haven't already, please subscribe. The thumbs up would be fantastically appreciated. YouTube loves it, as do I. They promote the videos when there's comments, loves and likes on it. Big fat kiss to you, my fellow Nevillers, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.